And let's see if that's happening first. Let me stop this. We are recording. All right, guys. There is a ton of work involved in a social media campaign. And it's also one of the most effective things that you can do. Now, I put out the Q1 report a week ago, and I put it out again to the public today. The most effective campaigns are phone banking. So they cannot hang up on a constituent. You can hold their attention all day long. And what we're doing in March Media Madness, I say madness, it's not because it's crazy, it's because there's a lot of moving parts and there's a lot to it. The reason that we do that is so that we can prepare for April phone banking. We want you having relationships with your congressional offices. So on that note, let me share my screen. And before everybody writes to me and tells me they wish I would just do it from the perspective of a slideshow, I get it. And it doesn't always work out for me. So just bear with me on this. Let me do one more thing. Okay. All right, guys, let's get started. So March Media Madness, it's obviously a play on the basketball tournament. And we are running a bunch of contests during this time. Blake is not here, but it's one of the things that we've talked about all the time is remember when this used to be fun. And there really is a lot of fun to be had, especially in a social media campaign. Because social media actually is one of the best ways to talk directly to your legislators. There was a time when that wasn't the case, but the prior administration, they were able to utilize Twitter, especially, to get their messages across on that platform. And members of Congress quickly adapted. While there are a few that still have staff handle their social media accounts, by and large, most of our legislators actually do handle their own Twitter accounts, and they will respond. And what we know from prior accounts is that if you send 5 to 10 tweets to a legislator, you're going to probably get the chief of staff responding or a legislative aide. If you send 30 to 50, you're going to get the congressman or a congresswoman directly, or your senator. And so we've utilized these campaigns for children in wheelchairs, for arthritis and their medication campaigns. They're highly effective. We will talk about 30-second videos later on during this particular presentation. Okay, so let me move this over here so I can see. Okay, mini campaigns, one goal. I think most of you are starting to figure out that this is not easy. And anyone who acts like it is hasn't done it. They haven't passed federal legislation before. And so you have to understand that we layer in at AcuCongress for a reason. Ultimately, the goal is going to be one big event that is in DC, that is both a hybrid in-person fly-in, along with those who can't make it being able to do Zoom calls or some kind of virtual call, along with a convention, a health fair, a congressional briefing, and a Twitter campaign, a social media campaign, all in one. But we layer the educational components to this, and we do these events separately so that you really have an understanding of what it takes to do this. And these types of techniques are often considered old school, but they are the most effective way to actually pass legislation. So just know that there's going to be, we will be doing something every single month. We missed January, but that was still follow-up from the December 8th fly-in. February follow-up we had, I mean, I took 50 meetings in 8 days myself. So thank you to everybody who participated in that. Next, we have March Media Madness, and I'll go over the details with that. Tonight, we'll do April phone banking after that, which is going to be a hard press because we expect them to start stripping bills for Medicare expansion bills in May in markup. So we have many campaigns, but we have one goal, and we are all in this together. And I don't just mean that AcuCongress has many campaigns. There are going to be plenty of organizations who are also trying to get this legislation passed. We want to see you have the skill set that you could be involved in any campaign moving forward and be an asset to those campaigns. All right. What we learned in the past, we did a virtual fly-in this time for anybody who was at the first ASA National Convention. We did an in-person fly-in. We had 183 people, which was an excellent turnout. We had 205 people for the virtual fly-in, and that does not include those who brought patients. So we had well over, by our estimates, something closer to 300 that were involved in the December 8th campaign. We learned the timing, the rhythm of each congressional meeting. We learned why it's important to work in a team, and more than anything, we worked on rapport. You learned about the fly-in technologies and those techniques, and hopefully you learned that follow-up is the single most important part of this process. Now, guys, I want to be very clear on this. Follow-up is everything. So I don't care if you are doing the AcuCongress events, social media campaigns, if you are involved with a group that is using text messages in order to reach out, you have to follow up, especially on text messaging, because you don't know where that went and you don't know if it was received, unless, of course, you hear back from the office. And so I want to make sure that people understand that it is the follow-up that gets the co-sponsors. And then we did a virtual campaign for the first time with this group. We did 268 offices in one day. I will never do that again unless people are coming to DC to actually engage in a fly-in. Virtual fly-ins can be held over a length of time. And so that's what we'll do from here on out. So now what we're going to learn tonight, we're going to learn what an email letter campaign looks like to Congress. And I've got patient and practitioner templates that are already in Basecamp. I'm going to go over the rules of engagement for the contest because we are trying to make this fun. And we really want to reward teamwork and action. So there are no rewards for successes. So what do I mean by that? The incentive is to work together. The incentive is to send the emails, make sure you're engaged on Twitter. The incentive is not if somebody responds to you or co-sponsors that on that. We have another contest for that. But we want to reward you for all of your hard work and all of your teamwork. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We'll get to the social media campaign. There's a reason why Twitter is the main campaign. And I know that lots of people are on Facebook, and especially with my demographic, which is sort of the Gen X group born in the 70s, probably been in practice 10 plus years, if not more. They tend to use Facebook more. However, that is not where you interact with legislators. Twitter is the best way to do that. YouTube, you can certainly comment on their channel. You can see more about that. And then the other social media, the Instagram, LinkedIn, we will not be running campaigns for these platforms, primarily because they haven't shown themselves to be effective advocacy tools yet. Instagram is great for posting photos of events. We certainly want to use that. I think my disdain for Facebook is well known. But thanks to Jason Sargis, I did create an AcuCongress Facebook page, and we're going to incorporate some of that too. But that really is about communication with each other, not about communication with the offices. Relationships. We are absolutely adamant that the goal of this is to establish a relationship with your elected officials and their offices and the staff members who work there. So constant and consistent communication is the key. We want to be a consistent constituent, and we want to make sure that you understand that nothing is a one-off. You have to continue to communicate with our elected officials in order to get the things done that you want. Teamwork. This is the first time that I'm putting you guys into 4 separate regional teams. Now, why is that? Well, there's power in numbers. Otherwise California could probably run away with all of the prizes, mainly because they have 53 co-sponsors that they can seek. We divided it up so that the 4 teams will have a potential of 105 to 109 co-sponsors each, depending on their elected officials. And that is a very simple contest. At the end of May, so we'll go through March Media Madness, and then we'll develop a point system for, we have a point system for that, so you'll be able to see that. At the end of that, we will tally up how many co-sponsors come out of the different teams, and the person or the team that has the most co-sponsors will win prizes. We are seeking our industry vendors to donate different things. There will be individual contests too. We're playing Twitter Bingo. That'll be a daily contest with weekly prizes. And there's a grand prize winner for the phone banking or the email campaign. And that one, actually, so far the prizes that are coming in are pretty nice. We've got one comped registration to the Next Atlantic Symposium. I have different vendors who are reaching out with classes, complimentary CEUs, or different gift baskets. So we've got lots and lots that we want to give away, and we want to have fun. But the goal is to teach you how to work in teams, and to make sure that you understand that this point system is for activity, not for results. All right. I said this earlier, but constituent relationships, they are constant and consistent. Communication is the key to that. So please don't ever think that just sending one email, and this is the problem, we experience advocacy fatigue. So for those people who will only write one check or send one email or attend one event, that does not work in federal work. That may work for states in which you have a 4 to 6 month period to pass legislation, but that does not work in federal activities. All right, and then the last thing, your relationships with each other. We, as an industry, we have a tendency to decide who we want to stand with rather than what we stand for. It is time for all of us to unite around what we agree on and work on those things together to achieve our goals. Again, we are all in this together. So I just put a little note thanking those who came before us, and for those who are coming after us, I want to make sure that we attempt to create a world in which they have amazing career options in this field and find success while expanding access to this beautiful medicine. That's the goal. So let's dive in. The email letter campaign. This is for my demographic, because there are lots of us who don't like social media or not on social media or don't want to start a Twitter account or whatever X happens to be. You can send an email. But the most important part of this is we want to include as many patients as we can. So inside of Basecamp, in the AcuCongress headquarters, inside of Docs and Files, there is a folder called March Media Madness 2022. And in there, you can find everything that you will need. There are lots of updates that I have to make to Basecamp. That's going to happen tomorrow. I am exhausted today, so just bear with me. In those, you'll find spreadsheets. I've got a spreadsheet for the 117th, our current Congress, their House and Senate staff. I've included the chiefs of staff, the schedulers, and the legislative aides for health and veterans. You will also find another spreadsheet for legislative social media accounts. So you're going to want to follow your members of Congress on various social media. There's a list of both the federal U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate. And then I've also included the state legislators for each state and their governors in case you wanted to include them in your Twitter feeds as well. You'll find templates for practitioners and for the patients. Thank you, Louis Jen and Michelle Lau. Because of them, we have them in Chinese as well. And then you'll find the Dear Colleague from Representative Chu, both English and Chinese versions. So that's what's in that folder. You will also find a Google spreadsheet that has my AcuCongress social media. It's an Acuvist social media handles. I've listed that in Basecamp. Please, if you're going to take part in any of these contests, we need to know what your social media handles are. And once we go over the details of the instructions, you'll understand why. Okay. All right, so the AcuCongress email contest. So you can locate the patient and practitioner templates in the same place in the March Media Madness 2022 folder. You can find that staff member that you're looking for. Everything is listed alphabetically by state. So that's the easiest way for you to be able to find them. You're going to send your patients the template and the Dear Colleague, along with the staff member's email address and CC info. So the way that we're going to track this contest is if you CC me at acucongress@gmail.com. Now, the reason I created a new Gmail email is so that it would be easier, because Callie Bird at sustainableinfluence.org is not easy to remember, and they don't know who I am, and they may forget to include it in the BCC. So you want to customize your practitioner and work with the patients to customize theirs. So you want to, there are places we've given you a full template, but I really am not a fan of form letters. I'd love for everybody to take the time to make this very personal, where things need to be changed. We've listed those in red so that there's no confusion. They're very user-friendly. I put them in Word docs so that you guys can change anything that you need. You don't have to put the AcuCongress logo on there. I don't care. I just put it in there in case you wanted to. All right, so on March 15th, we're going to do a lot of prep work. Before then, you need to set up a Twitter, or you need to do some things before. I'll get to that. But anyway, you're going to send the initial email on Tuesday, March 15th. Next Tuesday is when we kick this off. So you send your initial email and you CC AcuCongress on that so that we know. And then you have patients send those emails anytime between March 15th and the 29th and CC AcuCongress on that. And then there are points awarded for every exchange from you and your patients, and there will be a grand prize winner that will be announced before we begin April phone banking. So the rules of the email contest are pretty simple. You just have to CC us. If you do not CC us, then we cannot count that email. You were given 3 points for your initial email. 2 points are given for every single patient email. And this is what we're hopeful for, that it encourages you to reach out to your patients and have them involved in this as well. We bestow 1 point for every daily exchange that you have. So if there's a day in which you're emailing back and forth with the legislative staffer, then you're getting a point for that. If your patients are doing it, then you get a point for that as well. Just make sure that we are CC'd so that we can count everything. I will not accept forwards from practitioners, but I will accept them from patients. And who am I kidding? I'll probably accept them from you guys too, but it's got to be rules and you probably should stick to them. All right, now let's move on to the Twitter. Okay, you can find the Twitter information in the same folder, March Media Madness 2022, okay? In order to win any prizes in this contest, you must enter your social media information in the AcuCongress Acuvist social media handles spreadsheet. It is all there in that folder, okay? If you have not created a Twitter account prior to now, please do so. If you need help with that, we are on hand for any of that. Annie Laura is actually on the call tonight. She's the ASNI social media director, and she actually did a presentation for ASNI members showing them how to best set up Twitter accounts and make them attractive and impactful. We want you to follow at AcuCongress and each other. That's what the spreadsheet is for. Follow other acupuncturists, follow the legislators that you want to, follow whomever you want, but it'll come to play momentarily. We want you to follow your elected federal district representatives and your 2 state senators, and you can find those in the congressional and state social media spreadsheet that is available inside of that March Media Madness 2022 folder. Okay. So here's the point system that I've developed. Now the Twitter bingo, we're still trying to figure out. I'll have it done by the morning. I just want to figure out how best to use these cards and how we want to do them. But essentially there are 5 points available every day. And honestly, Twitter will take you 5 minutes. We're going to create the post for you. We're going to keep the same hashtags for the week. Each week we will change hashtags in our messaging as well, but we are going to try and tweet daily. We want you to tweet to your representative. We want the same tweet to go to your senators. And then we want you to retweet something coming out of AcuCongress. So all you got to do is just retweet, and we want to show you the power of retweets and what happens with that. You get a free chip for following another acupuncturist on Twitter. I just want to encourage you guys to be looking around and seeing who's out there and who you can connect with. So all you got to do is send me a little screenshot showing that you followed somebody, and then you get a free chip. Each week we will, for those people who finish all of their cards, they will be put into a raffle for prizes, and then anyone who just gets the straight bingo lines somewhere along the way, we will work something out for you guys as well. All right. If you guys have your phones, that is the Q code to join the AcuCongress Facebook page. So if you want to hold your phones up and see if that works, that's fine. I'm going to load all of this into Basecamp along with the Q code in a particular message so that you guys can join that. All I really want on Facebook, I'm going to post some things through the AcuCongress page. And if you guys would like to, post those in any of your groups just to get the word out, that would be great. We want all hands on deck and anybody who wants to take part in any of this. And this really is easy and fun. I'm telling you, Twitter does not take long at all. You will have my tweets that are available just to retweet. That's the push of a button. And we will create the tweets for you so that you can customize them and tweet to your legislative officials each day. We are encouraging daily outreach for the social media campaigns. That's incredibly important. And if you feel comfortable, we would encourage you to direct message your legislators as well. I have several legislators that I talk exclusively through Twitter and our direct messages that way. Tim Ryan being one of them. By the way, I had a client who wanted to hold a meeting coming up in person in June, and my understanding from congressional staff is Capitol Hill public buildings are still closed to the public. When we know more, we will let you guys know, because I would love to get back on Capitol Hill for a lot of these events. Why are we doing all of this? Regional teams. Now, that didn't turn out the way that I wanted it to, but I will put all of these teams together in base camp. But essentially, every team has between 9 and 13 states, and they've all been divided by how many representatives they have, so that it's an equal amount on each. If you're on this call, I'm hopeful that you're interested in being one of these team captains. I will be reaching out directly to each of you to see if that's a possibility, because while I will always tell you that it's not that I don't have faith in leadership, I do. My concern is always making sure that everybody is involved. And this type of campaign takes coordination and leadership. So if you want to be a bigger part of that, please let me know. Okay. And then the last slide, we will have contest winners. So the importance of fun. I enjoy what I do. I also recognize that not many people enjoy it as much as I do. But I truly think that there is nothing more fun than actually seeing the fruits of your labor grow and come into fruition. And this type of campaign, this can be a lot of fun. And so the importance of play is not lost on me. If people don't enjoy doing this, they won't, you know. And they need to understand that you have to shepherd, because just like Judy Chu sending out a dear colleague, there are dozens of dear colleagues that land on people's desks all day long. It's not up to Congress to educate themselves on acupuncture or what our bill says. It's up to us. And so we want to make this as fun and interactive as we possibly can. If you guys come up with hashtags on your own, we would love to hear them. But the most important thing is that we were doing this in a very collaborative team environment, with the idea of establishing enough of a relationship so that if they haven't co-sponsored by April, we are picking up the phone and calling them directly to find out what the holdup is. Okay. Now, that's the end of that presentation. Y'all can all show yourselves and ask me questions now. Wow, 37 minutes. It's a record for me. Any questions? Kimberly Coleman, while I have you, because you've already done your job, I've got you in the same, originally I started thinking about this from like a circuit court division. I was going to divide the courts and the states that way, but it was drastically uneven when you start looking at the Ninth Circuit in California, all of that. So I've put DC, which, as you well know, has its own circuit court and handles most federal things. I've put you in with the Fourth Circuit, which would be Maryland. And so but the thing is, you can go wherever you want, quite honestly. So that's up to you. Massive points for anybody who wants to help anyone in this. You know, I cannot stress the importance of teamwork enough. It is, this is not easy. It is not easy. I mean, we passed a bankruptcy bill. Oh, it took 8 years. It took 8 years.
Well,
So
Maryland looks very much
for things to take 8 to 10 years. And we are on year 7 with this. Actually, I think at this point we're on year 8. So we have lots and lots of work to do. Hi, Lynn. I
Hi.
need to talk to you at some point. Can I call you tomorrow?
Yeah, I should have time
Okay.
tomorrow night, but I just want to say that I'm very much looking forward to
gotta
working with
unmute.
Kim. I'm not on.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I'm on my phone, so I think it's
No,
picking up the
it wasn't
car.
you. No, it wasn't you. I looked down and my whole I was on mute.
Oh
I
my
couldn't
goodness.
hear.
No,
And that's
so I
fine.
said, yeah, I just said I'm very much looking forward to working with Kim. She's great. So
Oh, good, good, good,
yeah, we
good.
can, hopefully she jumps on with us. And I will call. I do have time tomorrow. You want to send me an email for some
Yeah.
time?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would love that because I definitely want to talk to you.
Okay.
Does anybody have any questions now that I've unmuted my my no? Okay. Go ahead, Kimberly.
I missed out on February and I haven't been active in Basecamp, but I
It's
want
okay.
to make sure that I'm plugged in so I don't miss
Good.
anything else.
Good. So yeah, everything is there in Basecamp. Plus I put out the Q1 report that'll kind of let you know where we're headed. This is the first time we're going to try and engage all members of Congress. So one of the things that I forgot on the Twitter, you'll get points for following, and you get points for our retweets, and then we're gonna do something where Blake and I have identified like key committee members. If we don't have enough constituents in that area, we're gonna ask everybody to tweet at them that day, so that we are not missing out on anyone at this point. Every office is important. We have 9 co-sponsors, all Democrats. I had really hoped for Vern Buchanan's office before he took his current position, but his staffer avoided me for a month, and I knew, I knew that was going to happen. He is not going to sign on to any healthcare legislation because of his current position. So we are looking to, our strongest Republicans are in South Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, and Indiana. Actually, yeah. So those 4 are the strongest so far. If you have relationships with your Republican offices, we need one. We really do. Congress is a big old club. They want to know first and foremost how many of their Democrat colleagues or how many of their Republican colleagues have actually signed on. And it just takes the one. So we've been very hesitant to load too quickly on Democrats, because once you get to a certain point, no Republican will sign on. However, when you strip a bill, so if you were just doing a standalone bill, that's when you would worry about that need for bipartisan support. When you're stripping a bill, it's purely a number that shows that there is interest. So if at any point we have to just say, okay, we'll go for 100 Democrats just before May in order to get that language stripped into a Medicare bill, then that's what we'll do. And then the last thing that we learned from February follow-up, we met with Senator Bozeman's office out of Arkansas, and he suggested that we, rather than banging my head up against the wall with Senate help, which is what I typically do, to go through Senate Finance. Senate Finance actually has oversight of Medicare and CMS, and they are stripping bills right now in order to provide a Medicare expansion package. So that was lovely information. We trade in information over here, and we can thank Blake Langley for that, because I had 3 meetings, and I clearly cannot split into 3 people at that point. And bless his heart, he provided me with some of the best information that I had all day long. So we have a really good plan. We have a lot of momentum in Congress. We've had people who definitely have been great at follow-up, and they're hearing from different things. Louis Jen, for example, heard back from his representative at Scott Fitzgerald, is that right? And it was a very positive email stating that they would definitely vote while they were not in the Senate Finance Committee, they certainly would vote for that piece of legislation. That's remarkable. Bill Weinstein, who's not here tonight, he has been corresponding with Antonio Delgado's office, who said, this is a Democrat, who said that he would not sign on until there was a Republican. So it comes back to, you know, we want bipartisan support, and we're nice in the beginning. By April, we're going to be like, hey, did you talk to your boss? What's the holdup? You know, we will take every opportunity for outreach that we possibly can. And all of these really are just to teach you the techniques so you can utilize them anywhere. This is what I do for a living, guys. And quite frankly, my goal in life is to teach this to everyone. I want to see high school students, junior high students learning these types of techniques so that we can all take part in democracy and what's going forward. If there are no questions, I have 100,000 things to do tonight. If there are people who need me for any reason, I am putting my, well, I say I am. I'm putting my phone number in Basecamp, and you guys can text me at any point, okay? I am going to be doing direct outreach this week. I want to have some conversations with people. So I'll be calling you, and if I don't reach out to you, it has nothing to do with whether or not I think you're strong enough to hold deeper roles here. It is probably because I am busier than a one-armed paper hanger right now. And so if you want to take part and I haven't reached out to you directly, contact me, because I want everybody. Okay, this is fun, guys. It really is. This is one, it is one of the things that, don't get me wrong, fly-ins are fun to me too, but they are enormous work on my end. This is one of those things that I can tell you to involve your patients, and you will, because it doesn't take all of that training for an actual fly-in meeting. And so we've tried to make this as easy as possible. I did go down a rabbit hole yesterday and trying to put people in teams and figure out bingo and all of that. And finally, a voice inside my head said, just keep it simple, stupid. So we've tried to make it very, very simple. We want to see as much action coming out as we possibly can. And Sean Gardner, I don't know if you're still here. We want student involvement. It is never too soon to advocate for this industry. So if you guys are teachers or professors at any of the schools and you want to pass on this information, we want everybody involved. And this actually, while there's a lot of steps to it and moving parts, it's easier to train them in a social media campaign or an email or letter campaign than it is to do the Zoom calls or the phone banking. So I'm looking forward to it. Is everybody excited about next week? We get started on the Ides of March. I was in a 6th grade play, Julius Caesar. I had just moved to Texas, and I got the role of narrator because my mother told me I had to speak like somebody on the news or I would never get a job at 11. But my friends, with all the beautiful Texas accents, all I could hear, to this day, I still laugh, I hear, Brutus, I'm your waff. So I have that speech on the Ides of March memorized, and it is, I think it's fitting. I think it's fitting. I think we have to understand that this is a big transitional change, and we are slaying a dragon here, right? We are slaying a dragon, and so we need everybody. I need you to tell everybody. If you head up a trade association, I will train any of them, any of them. I'm speaking to Colorado on Sunday. I'm speaking to a New York acupuncture school Sunday night. We are trying to make sure that we don't waste. I want to wring every single second out of this congressional session. If we fail to get the language stripped or it doesn't pass this year, we'll pick it up and we'll do it again. But we're gonna be able to say we tried as hard as we possibly could in this session. Okay. All right. Everybody, I'm done. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.